The challenges Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness cast have to face. Doctor Strange, an underrated character in some movies. How did it happen? Well, my new friend favorite, buckle your seat belt and hop in and let's drive. Chaos. If I could describe the film in one word, it would be chaos with the ever-changing storyline delays and new challenges that arose with multi-universe. And cracking wide open the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. It's no surprise that getting this movie made was pure and utter chaos. Are you ready to hear about the insanity they endured to get made? MCU as a whole that I just really wanted them to throw up when they want next. Number 1. The multiverse is real in our world too. Multiple films shooting at the same time led to the script not being finalized until the shooting day, and even then things were changing on the spot. Anything that didn't change in the filming of this film was the title. Now that they've and moving into the huge new phase of multiverse, well, they are drawing of other productions that are overlapping like Spider-Man and WandaVision. They could be the ripple effect which would cause Doctor Strange's script to change to keep up. With continuity, that's another added compilation to an already complicated piece. So essentially, they couldn't nail down their ending until all of the pieces were known and were writing the scripts as they went. We imagined that they had an ever-evolving draft of scripts and weren't just working with 30 pages and hoping it all came together. If there's no draft, that they at least had their plot points locked in. Elizabeth Olsen and had very little idea what people would even see in the theaters. The script changed a lot, right? And I don't really know what it changed. Olsen jumped right from WandaVision into the multiverse. The pitch she received was mind-blowing. I was terrified. It just sounded like such a challenge for her. It was fun transitioning from her experience to the movie, and Olsen had a ton of questions about how the multi-universe worked. Palmer did too. We imagine one of those questions was, is it if actually part of the canon? Number 2. Batch of Cumberbatches. Benedict Cumberbatch acting opposite himself was a unique challenge for him. It doesn't get weirder than playing Doctor Strange. He joked about his other self being lazy and hanging out in his trailer while he was on set, working his butt off. Best Cumberbatch. It can't be easy not having an acting partner to give those authentic performances. I think it felt freeing for him to get to be in other versions of himself shoes, but when you're a seasoned pro, it can't be too much of a challenge. Either it's a bit clumsy and they went, it's great, it's very unique, and it's different. Number 3. Never meeting. Characters are in the same scene doesn't mean they filmed on the same day. Despite finally merging into same cinematic world, Elizabeth Olsen never even met some of the actors in the movie. That includes both John Krasinski and Patrick Stewart. It was all done by the power of movie magic. I was just me, and as a green and no other actor, hug your ears. Number 4. New stunts. All these years later, and there's still a new stunt to explore. The multiverse introduced new flying stunt for Elizabeth Olsen. There are ways we use her flying that we haven't seen before. You'd think Olsen would see a seasoned veteran at this point and there wouldn't be many flying stunts she hasn't done before. We are constantly impressed by the innovation of Marvel Studios. There were a few rigs I've never experienced before on this. The scrap script. The original script for Doctor Strange 2 was scrapped when their director Scott Derrickson quit. Just imagine what kind of movie we would have if he'd stayed on board. We get the sense his version never brought back Palmer, given that she didn't get the call for quite a while, and alas, it is a secret we will never be privy to. Probably it's kind of got a little bit of everything for everybody. It's a bit of a January bust to this. this. Number 6. Reshoots. Doctor Strange had 6 weeks of reshoots in early 2022, so the release was pushed to May, and they were working with an incredible complex plot and seeing as it's paved the way for the next phase of Marvel. It was important that I get it right, and I thought I would regret not doing it more than I regret doing it even. Though it makes me cringe a bit to watch, it reshoots We're No in a response to test screenings, where they learned about the confused and audience and what moments didn't land, or where over-explained Raimi's first 2 hour and 40 minutes cut was trimmed down to 2 hours and 10 minutes. That was before the reshoots that replaced other scenes. This is an epic film fans of Sam Raimi and gonna love it. Let's get physical. Cumberbatch had to get ripped for the Doctor Strange sequel, and we gather that because for the first time, he's using his hands for more than just magic. But for fights as well as Cumberbatch put it, there's a lot of more that he's asked to do in this, and also some physical stuff that doesn't involve magic. That is just about hand-to-hand stuff. There's a lot of reasons why I like acting, but one of them is to sort of do things that are outside of my comfort zone. Number 8. The perfect entrance. To introduce beloved character from the X-Men universe and Fantastic Four is a lot of weight on Sam Raimi's shoulders, especially so after 2005's Fantastic Four and the reboot. Now we've got Krasinski joining the movie of Mr. Fantastic and Patrick Stewart back as Professor X. We've been waiting for this day since Disney acquired 21st Century Fox way back in 2019, when it was still stuck in the 20th century, but honestly, we've never been waiting for like a decade for this moment. Number 9. Raimi's journey. The world has changed since leaned into the horror in this one, a tone Marvel hasn't really done in the movies yet. But despite what everyone thinks, he wasn't trying to force his own directing style onto the movie. Everything he has did was in the service of Doctor Strange too, not in service of him and on set. Anyone will tell you he's a fun and playful guy. This movie was a walk in the park for Raimi, and compared to Spider-Man back in 2001, he had to be a lot more innovative. The theme had to make the tools, and that was an exhausting process. But now that's all been created, and it is a disposal, thanks to the generous budget. But jumping into the universe after over a decade of movies meant Raimi had a team of people behind him to take sure, and everything he wrote contradicted anything. In previous movies, all of those things were giving us direction as to where we should go. Number 10. Finding Palmer. Playing two versions of the same character is a challenge. Rachel McAdams didn't know if she would even be a part of the multi-universe. At first, when she first got the call and she told that she'd be playing 3 different versions of herself, which thanks to the ever-changing script was trimmed down to 2. Her challenge was playing one, Christine, and was the fine line between keeping Palmer recognizable and making this other one unsettling and unnerving. She really enjoyed getting out of the hospital setting and seeing the beautiful detail in the sets, like the Sanctum, Sanctorum, and the Sanctum is ordinary. Number 11. A new Chavez. Remember when the world went weird over the teenage Peter Parker? Xochitl Gomez played a younger version of America Chavez than even the comics have even done in this movie. We kind of get to have like a new introduction to her. It was a challenge to keep America's personality the same, and what they found was that they had to keep 4 confidence, and just to make her less experienced, it's so crazy that I get to Tobe that person. Number 12. The Real Villian. Spoilers ahead, just kidding. Those already happened to be the real villain for the production was copied, sort of was more like an anti-hero for Sam Raimi. It gave him time to rethink the script, but they also worked themselves to the bone, trying to accommodate all the convert requirements so they could keep filming Cumberbatch. And I lost count of how many lockdowns we actually filmed through the reason that they were able to continue. Cumberbatch said that was this government's approved gold standard of testing and tracing of a huge amount of sacrifice. He admitted it's been tough. I'll be honest with you, it's hard, quite a journey. This film, it's been tough for everyone. I'm having a really good time being your Doctor Strange, and I enjoy it. The multiverse truly is mad. You couldn't have packed more chaos into the pre-production if you tried. Do you think Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was worth the chaos? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and thanks for hanging out with us right now.